The views and opinions expressed on Beautiful Disasters are those of the panelists and not those of the Geeks Under the Influence Network, their sponsors, or anyone else involved. Also, there is going to be a lot of adult language used on this podcast, so please keep your little kitties away.
Welcome back to Beautiful Disasters. This is
number 2 of the new year.
Number 2 full episode of the new year. We had a fun one today.
Holy shit.
Oh man. But yeah, let's get right into it. Let's introduce the panel. I'm the Grutz.
F.U. Hunter.
And our guest today,
the Geek Father. I'm Scotty Big Daddy Preston. That's right.
There you go.
And look at that. I'm so proud to be y'all's deuce of the year.
There you go.
Yes.
What do you think of me? Think of deuces.
Deuce.
Dookie.
Yeah.
Dookie. That's going to come into play later.
No, we're done with diapers in our house, so I don't care what you say about Dookie anymore. No way.
But actually, I want to say that you were the one that turned us on to this movie.
Yes. Yes, I am so proud of that, actually.
You shared the trailer with us a few months back, and we were like, yep, this is going to be a thing.
And then he ordered the movie.
Oh, yeah, I own the Blu-ray and everything.
And got it right in time for it to be on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, there you go. These things happen.
Which is always interesting when you're like, oh, man, this would be badass. And then you oh, wait, it's like, now I could watch it whenever I wanted to.
To be fair, though, I ordered it directly from the distributing company with some other movies. And all of us here are still supporters of hard copy, regardless of watching it on the streaming.
That is very true.
So that's my takeaway from that.
When I think that happened with us was Velocipaster.
Yes.
Didn't we get it? And then literally not but what, like a couple weeks after we watched it and did our episode, then it was on Prime. So
absolutely, yeah. But we actually reached out to Wild Eye.
Yeah.
Where I reached out to Wild Eye and was like, hey, we want to review a couple of your movies, and they sent us not 1 or 2 screeners. They sent us like 7 fucking movies.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Including Velocipaster on DVD, which Murph loves so much, we just gave it to her.
Well, yeah, she raved about that movie. Murph wanted everything to do about that.
That was fun.
I decided they had to own that because I know with it being Blu-ray, Grutz was like, I don't have that on my Blu-ray, and I don't own Blu-rays, and the passion was there. I had to give it to them. So
yeah, they deserve it.
I drew the line. If I was committing to Blu-ray right now, I would have to be selling my plasma every week. I have to be sucking dick. I have to be sucking dick all the time for money.
See, that's why I look for the deals, though, especially when it comes to the Blu-ray and you find the combos. Because even the more independent distributors are doing the combos.
Have you
now,
seen
too.
his DVD collection?
Well,
that
I
would
know,
still...
I helped move that DVD collection.
Do you realize the cost alone of upgrading all of the DVDs into Blu-ray?
Oh, no, upgrading?
That's
no.
a lot of cocks.
No, sorry,
That's a lot of cocks he has to suck, all right?
Yeah.
Like, because if I went there, I would have to be a completist about it. And that would legit... I'd have to win the lottery.
Yeah,
I'd have to win the lottery to change my opinion.
I didn't mean for you to upgrade. I just meant like for new going forward. My apologies.
One thing I will say though is that even though we say, hey, this movie's on Prime, I've learned lessons, and I've brought it up. I don't know if I brought it up on this podcast, but I definitely brought it up on From the Mouths, that, you know what? Sometimes it's best to still own a hard copy because you can't rely that streaming's going to always have that. I learned that Halloween time with Terrifier, but in different movies like that where you go, let me just go and, nope, it's not on there. So I still am very pro, as much as I'm giving Scotty shit for literally having the movie and then it coming on Prime, he now knows he'll still be able to watch that whenever he wants if it leaves Prime. So,
yep, very much so.
Alrighty, so I guess we should actually introduce the movie.
Yeah, I guess we should talk about the movie. So
why don't we
we've hyped it up so much at this point.
Yeah, I know, right?
Why not?
So this is we are back on a very current movie release.
Yeah, man, what's going on with us?
I know, what's going on?
Well, but the last movie we did, a full episode, was from 1985, so yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, and I think just about every episode I've been on has been a current movie, just about as
well.
Holy
shit, you did do the Fred Durst directed John Travolta
The Fanatic and The Sand, or The Beach, or whatever, with
that was The Sand, yeah.
The Sand? Yeah.
The Sand, yeah. Those were pretty recent, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is legit like a 2020 movie.
Yes.
Like it just came out. And outside of I don't think we're ever going to get more current than Fat Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that just
That
been released.
just dropped.
Yeah.
With the exception maybe of like Willy's Wonderland, which
Oh,
we're gonna have to jump on quick.
We've already decided that's happening.
That's definitely gonna happen. Another Nick Cage. In any case, the movie that we are reviewing today is Uncle Peckerhead.
Yes.
Very indie, but it looks good.
Yeah.
Like it's shot crisply. I mean, yeah, it's shot on digital, but it doesn't look bad at all.
Ooh, practical effects.
Outstanding.
Yep.
Yes.
No
Yes.
CGI blood. I would have been so sad if they were using CGI
Right.
blood. They did a good job.
Exactly.
Because this was definitely a low budget, but good. Not like low budget as we'll just make it work. They did it. I mean,
Yeah, this is no like sci-fi CGI bullshit movie. They had it's a nice small concept. It's nicely contained, and they kept it together.
Yeah.
So 2020, directed by Matthew John Lawrence,
All right.
who really hasn't done much of
I was gonna
anything
say.
else. A couple short films.
right?
Small cast. I mean, the story basically revolves around this up and coming like indie punk band.
Not even up and coming. Just very indie punk band.
Yeah, they're just
I
starting
mean,
out.
they
So.
just
Yeah.
put their first demo on cassette out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're trying to get it out there, and they've got their first little 6-show tour planned
Right.
around the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And they're trying to get a gig in this kind of nice rock venue in their hometown, trying to work that shit out. But they're also having hard times because their apartment is up for eviction. Like they're
Right.
getting kicked out. Opening scene basically is like,
Well, she quit. Yeah, she pretty much is like
She's
the main.
quit her job.
Yeah, Judy, the lead singer bassist, has
Yeah.
quit her job, in which everybody's trying to kiss her ass on the way out. About she makes the
No,
greatest.
the manager who is apparently attracted to her kisses
Yeah,
her ass.
exactly.
The other two are just like,
You make the
Go.
greatest scones ever,
Right.
and then as soon as she walks out, like scones fucking sucked ass.
right.
yeah, little mom and pop bakery situation.
Actually, the first scene we see is just a quick the first shot after the credits. It says based
yeah,
on a true story, which I don't really.
That's just funny.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
okay,
Come on.
but it's a shot of some dead motherfucker, and this guy in the kind of the background walks up, rips his jaw off,
Yeah.
and then just starts chowing down, and then walks to his van, and then cuts to
Drives
black.
off.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you get introduced to the protagonist, this little band. So you got Judy, yeah, she's like the band leader, you know, she's
right.
the lead singer and the bassist. We've got
Co-vocalist.
co-vocalist, correct.
Yes.
We've got the guitarist who is
The best character in the whole fucking movie.
kind of aloof as fuck. You know?
I want a Max shirt of some type. I don't care who I have to talk to around here to make the design. I want a Max shirt.
Yeah, so that's Max, who has this bald head, giant beard, inked up, looks fucking like, don't throw down with this motherfucker. But he is
guys.
a teddy bear.
Hey, I fell asleep because I smoked weed.
Yeah, he's like, who knew that smoking weed would make me sleepy? Oh yeah, it did make me sleep. Just that innocent child, with him.
And then we've got Mel, who's the drummer, and she is basically like the Daria of the group.
Yes. Good call on that one.
Actually,
yeah.
she reminds me directly of the drummer and Scott Pilgrim.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just like, all right,
Yep.
whatever, fuck everybody. She's just a different version of that drummer, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
she's got a little like Aubrey Plaza going on. She's totally like really, really sarcastic.
Less talk, more rock is all she gives a fuck about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a nihilist. She doesn't care about anything.
Right. There you go.
She's
there
awesome.
you go.
So we learn that the big venue that's right across from the coffee shop that Judy has quit is having this big show in a week from then with the Queef Queens, who's like the major big band. They have their own label, a la Bad Religion, whatever like that.
This big indie label is
That's
what it's all
that's
about.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's like a la Bad Religion, No Effects, where it's this
Right.
big band, and they're also signing bands along the way. So, and that's where she starts hitting up Amir, who's the owner of the place, is like, fucking sign us, get us on this gig, and he's obviously bothered because she has irritated the shit out of him and says, she hands him the demo. She's like, listen, he's like, I will. Don't fucking call me till after Friday morning. If you call me, fuck you.
Yeah, basically. So as they're about to set off, morning of, they notice that their fucking van is getting jacked. And no, it's not getting jacked. It's getting repoed.
Yep.
Not only are they getting evicted, but their fucking car just got repoed. And they're like, fuck! We need transportation.
Yeah.
So they start, they make these, DIY flyers, and they start putting them on vans around the neighborhood.
One thing that happened, though, I do want to bring up, just because, again, if you want to see how, I don't know what's the word, adorable fucking Max is, motherfucker trips, lands on his face, gets up, his nose is fucking broken, and Judy and the other chick are like, what the fuck? He's like, oh, it's all right, my face caught the fall, and it's like his whole face is bloody.
Yeah.
Again, you can't, this dude is just, yeah. You can't shake his positivity.
But he heals quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
He does heal
that
quickly.
Shit's gone in like a day.
Yeah, they had no van, so they decided to make flyers that say, can we borrow your van?
And you basically get an 80s montage of them passing around the flyers, put them on cars.
Who the fuck would do that?
Right.
All right, you seem cool.
Not even in Richmond would I do that. And Richmond is a pretty tight music scene, and I wouldn't even do that around here.
Well, it was a desperate move because they just lost their transportation for their actual tour.
Yeah.
So they're like, we got to do something. And they end up finding kind of this skeezy looking big Dodge van, and they put a flyer up on it, and some dude ends up popping out of it like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah, this is my property, and you, southern drawl and everything.
Oh, yes.
And he's like, well, blah, blah, blah. And they start going over it. Oh, we were going to borrow a van. And he realizes, okay, they're going to be traveling. And this could be good because something's going on with this guy.
Well, he reacts to, they walk away. They're like, don't fucking worry about it. And they walk away. And then there's a cop car that shows up in the background that the driver of the van sees. And all of a sudden, he's like, a little more motivated all of a sudden. And goes and pulls up. And he's like, I'll be your roadie. I'll fucking drive you wherever.
Well, he's quote-unquote living in the van as well. So we can't necessarily let them borrow it. But he'll, like Hunter said, he'll roadie for them. He'll drive the van.
I'll drive. You give me a little bit of money. You pay for gas.
Yeah.
It's a deal. And they're a little weirded out by it, but they're like, well, what other options
what
do
the
we have?
fuck do they do?
We got to do what we got to do. Let's give it a go.
Yeah, because they had, 7 days and six spots.
Six shows.
Which is just kind of a circle around the state and coming back to the hometown.
Right.
Yep. And they're out of Philadelphia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were in Philadelphia.
I want to say near Philadelphia because,
they keep referencing Jersey near the end of the movie.
Well, I thought about that as well because part of Pennsylvania does connect to Jersey.
Yeah.
So if they were in northern Pennsylvania to southern Jersey, that's possible.
You mean Philly?
Yeah, Philly.
I don't know.
Well, you said Pennsylvania. You're taking the whole state. I'm just going to say the whole city.
Geography is not my forte, right? So I will take y'all's word for it.
Well,
but it's pretty much like that. Yeah, the east part of Philly is Jersey.
Yeah, it's Jersey, New York. I mean, they're all within an hour and a half.
Fair enough. I just know where to drive sometimes. That's all.
All right, so they,
Judy. I think Judy starts. She's all right, but she's definitely a little suspect. And then she gets a few clues before their first gig, which is the dried blood on the bumper.
Right. Well, one thing we're missing is that they don't even get this gentleman's name until after they've loaded the van and about to hit the road, which this gentleman goes by the name Peckerhead, because that's what his daddy called him till the day he died.
And they're like, if you want, you can call me Peck.
Peck to all my friends.
But Mel's just like, no, I like Peckerhead.
Yeah.
And the best after that is Lady's Choice.
Yep.
A southern gentleman, if you will.
I was going to say, throughout this movie, he's very southern gentleman.
Nonchalant, even, really, yeah.
Oh, his little like southern statements are fucking hilarious. I wrote down a bunch of them, and we'll get to them. All right, so they get going. They head out on the road and get to the first show, which is in this really like crappy dive place.
Yeah, because they get there and nobody's there.
Nobody's there. They gotta wait a while. One dude finally shows up who's totally doesn't give a fuck about anything. He's like,
nope.
"Oh, you're the band? All right, whatever."
Because when she brings up, she's like, where do we set up? We were told to do sound check, for all the other before all the bands, like that. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, the showcase. Aren't there other bands? He's like, no, you're the band. You're there. You're showcasing your music. Like, just a fucking prick. Like, guaranteeing one thing and obviously not even doing anything about it.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, how much material you got? Can you fill like 3 hours with a 15-minute break?
And they're like, fuck, what punk bands can fill 3 hours? New punk bands. Like,
yeah. And she's like, we have, it was great because she goes, we have maybe 20 minutes of material, 22 if we do our Misfits cover.
Yes. What's funny is exactly what you just said. How many albums does NoFX have?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's probably still not 3 hours worth of material.
The Ramones. Exactly. The Ramones could play their entire discography, and that would be like a minute 20 or an hour 20, all right? Yeah. Like, seriously, no punk band's filling in 3 fucking hours.
No way. No way.
And especially for when they get on stage, 2, like, old-ass motherfuckers that are just at the bar anyway. Like,
right.
Obviously, there's no promotion. There's nothing. It's just that one of those shows where it's just the regulars that are drinking, not a single
They should have
soul.
pulled the Blues Brothers and played Rawhide like 5 times in a row.
Exactly.
There you go. Oh, I got to remember that, yes.
I've had one time, by the way, where I'll leave the band nameless, and they're pretty successful, but I went to one of their early shows, and I walked in, and it was my girlfriend and 2 of my friends, and we walked in, and we were the only people there. And we walked in right next to the stage, so my friend saw us come in, which we then had to commit to staying at that show till they were done, because there was nobody else there, and that would have been pretty fucking shitty for me to go, like, what's up, man? And then walk out to a crowd of nobody. So, yeah. So the 4 of us just stood in front of the stage, and I felt really bad.
So I'm assuming that band wasn't very good then.
No, they were really good. It was hot as fuck. The venue was 100+ degrees.
So just shitty environment.
Yeah, and it just happened that was just a bad night for a show.
Wow.
So yeah, the first show is basically a bust. Like the sound was awful. They played the show to like 3 dudes sitting at the bar drinking Budweisers. And then
it was 3 people.
Then they get paid $3 for the show.
Because apparently their deal was $1 a head.
And there were 3 dudes
at the bar.
So obviously there was no promotion, nothing like that. Like, they got screwed. And they were obviously pissed at the promoter. He fucked all that shit up.
And he gives 2 shits. He's just like, here you go, $3, fuck off. Like, it's obvious, he does this all the time.
Oh, the phrase of that was Judy going, well, what the fuck should we do with this? And he goes, or what the fuck should we do with $3? And he goes, maybe invest in better music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what a
fucking
douchebag.
dick move.
Such an asshole.
Such an asshole. They've loaded up the van. They're like, fuck, $3. And then Peckerhead asks, like, hey, what time is it, by the way? And it's like, oh, it's almost midnight. And he's like, you know what? I'm going to go use the John before we get on the road. All right? And he's gone for a little bit. So eventually they're waiting in the van, and Judy goes to go look for him.
Right.
And she walks in by the manager's office and hears some sounds and looks in, and lo and behold, Peckerhead is looking kind of like a Buffy vampire in the face.
I was gonna say
that's it. Yes.
He had the face loaf.
Yes.
The loaf.
Right. All pale and the eyes change color. Yeah.
And he is munching down on this dude's fucking head.
Yeah,
the guy's torn apart. There's blood everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah. Oh, it's all over the place.
And of course, she's freaking the fuck out, and he's like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Hey, it's not what it looks like. It's like, what the fuck?
Which is great, because, literally, he's like, wait. And then she runs out and is freaking out, and then he comes out covered in blood.
But looking like a human again.
But normal
again. Yeah, looking like a human, but still covered in blood.
And it's one of the best exchanges.
Go,
you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Where he's just like, I don't know what you think you saw, but it's not what you think. And she's like, you murdered and ate this guy. And he's like, he's not dead. He's still alive. And she's like, he's dead. It's like, he's alive, dead, alive, dead, alive.
Oh.
DEAD. It's like, what the fuck?
And pretty much just like my 5-year-old daughter does when I'm about to call bullshit. They go, okay, well, let's go in there. And then he's like, okay, hold on.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I say, hey, did you clean your room? She says, yeah. And I go, okay, we're going to check it. Well, hold on a second. We don't need to check it yet. Just like that, pretty much. Hold on. Well, let me explain a little bit.
and just to interject, because I have two favorite parts all within this part, is when right before Mel goes to check what this happens, you get the typical sibling of, they're not saying the words, but they mouth the words dead and alive to each other, like they're still arguing behind their parents' back.
Yep.
Right.
And then when Mel goes to walk in, that's when Peckerhead stops her. Then, well, maybe he's not alive, and they walk into the manager's office.
Max,
we have a Max moment.
Max just fucking pukes into his hand.
He does the thing that we used to make fun of all the drunks at the bars, where you go to puke and you just keep your hand over your mouth, even though you're still puking, which means you spray it everywhere and get it all over yourself as well.
Ugh.
Oh, man.
Oh, Max.
Oh, Max. So, he's like, all right, I guess he's dead. Tell you what, let me go ahead and explain myself. Let me buy you breakfast.
Yeah.
Let me buy you food, and let me explain myself. So, cut to.
And they're desperate as shit. And what was so funny is they're terrified.
Yeah.
But they're also broke as a motherfucker.
Right.
So, I mean,
They only had $3.
I guess
like, I'll pay for it.
Let's sit down at least get the food while he explains that he just murdered this motherfucker, right?
Exactly.
So I have a quote here, and because I fucking love everything that comes out of Peckerhead's face. And he's like, all right, so they're all sitting down, and there's a smorgasbord full of like diner food.
Yeah.
Dig in, everybody, dig in. So he opens with, I guess I should open with an apology. I'm sorry I murdered the hell out of that promoter, man, before I had the chance to run it by y'all. I should have been more forthcoming about my condition.
Yep,
And they're
yes,
like,
I remember
what
that
the
too.
And the fact that you're doing the country accent is just the way he does it as well. That's what adds so much to
I
it.
do declare I murdered him, but I should have talked to y'all for just very
Right. Oh, yeah.
And of course they're asking like, Judy's like, your condition? And he's like, all right, so here it is. Basically he explains that every night at midnight,
For 13 minutes.
for 13 minutes, he goes through a change.
Yeah.
But he's in total control,
Oh, yeah.
apparently.
Yeah. What's it so funny? Because he's like, 13 minutes, I just turn it, I gotta kill. But I control, wait, so is it one or the other, dude? Are you a werewolf or are you like a vampire? Like, which one is it?
He doesn't black out or anything. It just happens, but I'm in control.
And then he reveals that, and they're like, well, what the fuck are we going to do? And he's like, well, pulls out a wad of money. He took all the promoter's money.
Blood soaked.
Yeah.
There's blood on it.
Yeah.
But he's got bills, baby bills.
Right.
So he's like, we're gonna stay in a hotel. Food's on me. We're gonna make this work. And they got nothing else they can do, so they're just kind of like in shock, going with it.
Yeah. Oh, and can I chime in? And this is still only the first 20, 25 minutes of the movie, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So just, it's not a long movie, but it just rolls really smooth.
And he finishes his little speech with, I understand how scary that looked, but I got this. And just like, I got this. And they're like,
once he
what
starts
the
flashing
fuck?
cash, I'll be honest, that's where Judy still has her reservations.
Sure.
But Max and they're both like, fuck yeah. Like
Well,
what else are we going to do? Like,
Well, they have a band vote right there in the restaurant, right?
Right. Well, Mel is just like, fuck it, we can still tour and play music. Max is just like, well, he did apologize.
Yeah.
And Judy is like, I don't have much of a choice because I want to play music and get this demo out.
And they do the vote, but she gets outvoted.
now,
Right.
one thing is, earlier, Judy had discovered in the glove box the bag that has what looked like, needles, and like she was like, oh, this guy's a fucking junkie. Then all this comes. So of course, as he's going everything, she takes the bag, slams it on the fucking counter, and it's like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, well, it's good you brought that up. That's what I use to knock myself out, so I, don't go on my murder sprees that I can control. But
I sedate myself
Yep.
so I don't go murdering people.
Yeah. Which again, so you're telling them one thing, like, but wait, why do you have to do that if you? Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yes. So, good lord, they get to the hotel,
Yep.
and they got a couple different rooms, and they're cleaning up and everything, and my favorite Max line happens when he's chilling in the hotel with Peckerhead. Peckerhead's like shaving or something, whatever it is, and he's like, "Hey man, what do people taste like?"
Hold on, where is he while he's asking him this?
The bathroom.
Right. What is he doing in the bathroom?
What is Max doing?
Is
then the shower.
No,
is he shitting?
He's
Oh, no,
taking
no,
a
that's right,
shit.
he's
Was he taking a
that
shit
one.
or was he
Literally-
just sitting on the toilet?
He's
I
literally
don't know.
sitting. No, it looks like he's shitting. All right.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure his pants are pulled down. I
There
forgot
you go.
about that.
So
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
taking a shit while fucking Pecker is like fucking brushing his teeth or whatever.
Yeah, brush his teeth.
It's like this small bathroom where they're like so close, and I was like, could they not wait? Like, all right.
Yeah.
So that's the question. Then, of course, Peckerhead spits out his toothpaste and is like, well, some people taste like dog shit, but some people taste like watermelon sherbet. I was just like, what the fuck?
Wow.
God damn.
I did forget about the watermelon sherbet part. Because if that isn't southern as fuck, I
Yeah.
don't know what is either. So
then they meet up with this guy, Nick, or I guess Judy had reached out to this guy, Nick.
another band. Yeah.
And he
Right.
offered for the band to stay there.
Place to crash.
Yeah.
Right. Not
And-
uncommon.
Yep.
He shows up, and this is what I'm going to say this line. Everybody looks, and he's like this hunky dude with fucking long hair and a beard. And fucking Peckerhead says, are you talking about blowjob eyes?
Yes.
You got some gumption, girl.
Yeah. I mean, to the
No,
fact,
he-
obviously, Judy is all about this Nick dude. So
Oh,
is
yeah,
Max.
Oh, yeah.
Max is fucking like...
What is it? Oh, yeah. Nick goes in for the hug on Judy when they first... And even Judy's like, like, hold me. And then Max just does a blatant bend over looking at dude's ass.
Yeah.
So, it's... Yeah.
You got gumption to the gills, girl. But yeah, she's obviously taken with the hot benevolent host,
Yes.
who apparently he's just lavishing, like they're out in the pool hanging out.
Right?
He's lavishing praise on Judy. He's like, yeah, your demo is great.
Yeah.
You guys sound awesome. I
I
can't
knew
wait
you were.
to see
I
it.
knew you were going to be beautiful from the sound of your voice on the phone.
Yeah.
What kind of bullshit is
Right.
that?
Well, and the full funny part is that she... And before they see him, she's all like, yeah, he sounds kind of like this goon asshole dude.
now,
And...
I'm going to throw this out here
So
real
Pretty
quick,
Boy.
and then we'll get back on here. But I thought throughout most of this movie had to take place in the 90s, where there's no such thing as like social media, stuff like that, where you can look up motherfuckers. Because how many times would you literally go and not have any clue what someone looks like with the access to Instagram, Facebook, stuff like
Right.
that? So I was like, oh, this movie takes place in the 90s. Except at the very end of the movie, there's one thing that smacks you over the head that says, no, this is current time. So, and we'll get into that later, but I mean, I don't know if y'all kind of felt the same way.
I think what this is just this is that level of like indie punk hipster kids that don't have any fucking money, so they don't even fucking have cell phones.
Yeah.
You know?
But they're using payphones throughout this movie, which
Which I guess you can still find in some
I
place, some
guess
parts
so,
of
yeah.
Very
Pennsylvania.
rarely.
very
though.
rare, yeah.
The problem is not only finding them, is there even if they're still functional. That's the...
Yeah.
Well, if they're still there, I mean...
No, there are plenty that are still out there that are not functional.
Oh, really?
They just haven't torn them up yet.
Oh, I just thought that was Detroit.
Well,
I'll be honest, we might have, their intention might have been that this movie was supposed to take place not in current times, because there's only one thing that I see at the end of the movie that says, no, this is a current situation.
right.
Current
And it's
time.
literally a piece of paper just pinned to the wall.
Yeah. So, because besides that, it's payphones, cassette tapes. I mean, at the shows, they're selling just cassette tapes, and they're, at the merch table, wouldn't it be a fuck ton cheaper to have fucking blank disc?
No.
Am I wrong? Yeah.
No, but that's what, because we were talking about that before we recorded and stuff. There are a lot of indie bands out there that are doing the cassette tapes, and apparently they can be, depending on how you do it, they can still be cheaper than CDs and stuff.
I don't know how.
they can't
There's
be.
no way, dude.
I don't know.
You can get a fucking like 100 spool of
Exactly.
CDs for like $12.
I'm gonna agree
You just gotta
with
put
Grutz
them
on
in
this
once
one.
at a time. Those
I-
cassettes.
You find me more 10 blank cassettes.
Dude, because
That's less than 100 CDs.
Because when you look in there and they're still like only selling the tapes for like $3, but they'll still sell the CD for like 10. It's not a matter of the physical. It's a matter of recording it and putting it on there.
No.
I think they must have screwed up at the end. That's what I'm
maybe.
thinking. Yeah.
The actual physical like cost of CD discs versus cassettes, way different.
I'll
'Cause that's
look,
a way
it,
more
I'll,
expensive.
I'll look it up one day.
What it is it's kind of like a hipster niche thing. Okay.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's been
no matter
happening,
what.
and the same thing's happening with movies. Like there's a lot of like movie companies that are releasing like VHS
Yep.
releases of something as like a collector's item, and good for them, you know.
Right.
I'm not gonna buy one,
but
but you know, I have some VHS because there are certain things that have never been released anything
as
prior,
do we. Yeah,
everything
for
after
sure.
that. So it goes.
sorry to divert us
No,
off of there. It's just,
honestly, overall, though, I really think it was a matter of what worked for the budget, because they were also very good about keeping because if you keep certain name brands out of there, you don't have to pay a royalty.
yeah.
Do you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, because they were so low tech, none of them had cell phones. I bet you they didn't have a goddamn computer to
look up-
burn
okay.
discs on.
Or
take that,
or
yeah.
look up this motherfucker that they're going to stay at his house. Okay, I'll give
So
you
they
that.
probably recorded the demo and just had a tape deck with 2 tapes, and they just made all those demos themselves.
I've helped bands do that before, yes.
That's a possibility if they were that low tech.
So anyway, they're at Nick's house, pool. He has them all. This motherfucker, I'm still was trying to figure out. This dude has this huge house, a fucking pool, but he's in a band or whatever.
Right.
But so they're all.
He can still have a day job, I guess, technically.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You know.
But
they
pretty
don't
much,
elaborate.
he's pretty much hitting on Judy. He's just like,
Oh, yeah.
your voice was really sexy on the phone. Like,
I think that's his game. Like,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Like he
Oh,
definitely
sure.
like he will host bands and hook up with the hot one from the band.
yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's his game. And he definitely hooks up with Judy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she goes, everybody's crashed out. She goes to sedate fucking Pecker, and then she goes back in, and he's doing the thing where he's laying,
Shirtless.
conveniently shirtless on the bed, couch, whatever. He's like, oh, yeah, everybody else has crashed out. What's your sleeping arrangement tonight? And pretty much, they're going to fuck, in which literally, quick shot, there they are fucking,
And that's why I say again, yeah, fuck. Yeah, fuck. Oh, yeah. Watch the movie.
It's
That's
the
all I'm gonna say
ultimate.
after that.
It's the ultimate hookup letdown when
Yeah.
the thing that you're like stoked on. She obviously was like, "This guy's hot. He's paying me compliments. We're gonna hook up." And then suddenly, it's just the sex is awful, and he's such a douchebag.
And he fucking comes in her.
And he,
Yeah. Well, she looks up, sees Peckerhead outside in Buffy vampire form,
yeah, Buffy loaf.
Buffy loaf, and then all of a sudden he goes, yeah, I'm coming. And she's like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? And jumps off of him and does whatever. So
Well, she jumps off because she runs back, and
I wasn't trying to say too much about the movie.
okay, well,
God.
but that's kind of the thing that threw
Yeah.
me off a little bit is that there he is, fucking still passed out in the van, like, and I was like, was that something where now she's paranoid and her mind's fucking with her,
Right.
or
She's definitely the most rational of the three
Yeah,
in the
sure.
band. Because the one's a nihilist. That's exhausting. And then the other one is just aloof as fuck. Like, he doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Max is Max, and he is a teddy bear.
Yes.
He is. Delightfully so. But
Yes.
Judy has her wits about her, and she's like,
Right.
this is obviously a fucked up situation. And what the fuck? And the next morning comes, and they're loading up the car, and dude's like, yeah, I can't wait for the show, or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, we can't leave out the scones.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes,
she wakes up to
She wakes up, and he's made fresh scones. Oh no. Peckerhead has made fresh scones. He bakes. You bake?
Yeah. This is my own special recipe that I like to make for people.
We should trade recipes. I didn't know you baked.
Yeah.
And he's obviously endearing himself to everyone, even though like they've obviously all seen him murder the fuck out of people.
It's just one of those fun-loving. Now they've seen him murder, but besides that, he's a great guy. And it's just as they go along, the friendship's building. I mean, again, he's murdered. They've seen him murder somebody, but that's just one character flaw. Besides that, he helps the band out. He makes great scones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he pretty much, everybody at this point, he's just the fun-loving Uncle Peckerhead. Like, he's like, they're going to forget about the murder. There you go. And Judy still sketched the fuck out by him. And especially, it's kind of weird, like, that's my territory, the fucking scones. But he gives her one, and she reluctantly, like, whatever, walks into the bathroom, fucking takes a bite, and is like, fuck, this is good. And like, god damn it. But at that point, he's kind of turned to everybody. Everybody loves him.
Yep.
Even with the murdering of people.
And they load up the van, and as they're about to depart, one of the funniest things, she rolls over, and it's kind of awkward morning after with the dude that hosted them that she fucked.
Oh, I love this part.
She gives him a motherfucking invoice.
Yeah.
He's like, what is this? And he unfolds it. It's like an invoice for the morning after pill.
Right. For Plan B, motherfucker.
You dick. You camming me.
Well, what's great is that he has that hug out with everybody, and like, he hugs, I think he hugs Peckerwood, or Peckerhead, and like hugs him and everybody, and then of course he hugs Max, and Max is like, oh, you smell great, like fanning, and then he gets to Judy, and then she's like, oh, motherfucker, here's a fucking invoice.
Did we just skip the show in the douchebag band?
No, we're getting to that right now.
That doesn't. Okay, sorry, my timeline went on.
That's
because the next
scene.
Oh, okay.
Well, before that, Metalheads.
Was Metalheads before that?
No.
Metalheads were after the show, is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Correct. This is the first appearance of the biggest douchebag band dude.
Terrible faux hog, fucking obnoxious nose ring.
I was about to say, me and you can sit there and like, I would never wear a septum ring like that.
It looked like a door knocker that he just fucking shoved up his fucking nose.
Reminded me of Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're waiting outside of this venue, and they're doing like it's a bigger show. And this guy is just such a pompous, arrogant fuck.
Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, yeah, you guys are just getting started out, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no, he introduces himself as the vocalist and lyricist. And then he says, I also write all the songs. And it's like, well, what else would fucking lyricist mean? Like, I made sure I'm very important.
And the biggest small detail is that he sits down on the bench where Judy's at, striking up this conversation. Hey, can I get a smoke?
Yeah.
And he takes a smoke and he puts the whole pack in his pocket.
Yeah.
Yes. See, I noticed that too, but not only that, he walks up and goes, oh, you smoke, as she's smoking the cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah.
But as a struggling band, that is the biggest dick move, because that fucking pack of cigarettes is supposed to last at least a fucking couple days.
And that's New Jersey prices,
yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
That's like an $8
shit.
pack of fucking like cheap ass cigarettes.
Good luck, $8. Shit. That whatever it can be GPC, it's gonna be fucking $10, man.
Damn right, yeah. God.
So, and this guy's such a fucking douchebag, such a pompous ass.
But he wrote that song about Laos.
Yeah.
And what I wrote down here, as soon as his character was introduced, is he must die.
Oh yeah.
He must die in this movie. And after he like kind of massages his own ego in front of her, like making her feel small. While he's
we're
like,
the
I'm
headliner.
The
we're the headliner, so that's cute. Y'all are playing. I guess y'all are one of the bands before us.
Right.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
And then he gets up to walk away, and she's like, "Hey, can I have my cigarettes back? You fuck."
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh yeah, my bad."
Yeah.
And then he tosses at her, and like not even like attempting to just walk over there and hand it to her, just throws at her, and she misses, and like she doesn't pick him off the ground. Like, hey, fuckhead.
Exactly.
Because he's like 5 feet away from her. Just walk the fuck over there. But again, you got to emphasize how much of a douche this guy is.
Absolutely.
So during this particular show, you don't get to actually see them play this time around. But at the merch table, Judy's like trying to sell her demos, and she's a little forward with it. Oh yeah, we're really awesome. You should check us out, blah, blah, blah. And
not
overbearing, if you will.
Yeah.
And not even like she's on the one side of the table and this person's on the other side. Literally, she walks up to the person and is in their face, like, talking up her band. In which, I'll be honest, even I was digging that shit, I'm like, no. If I'm going to come back, if I'm going to get something, I'm going to fucking leave and come back and get that shit because you're freaking me the fuck out.
Right. Don't need it. And, of course, the nihilist, Mel, definitely pipes up, be like, yeah, you need to chill on your sales pitch.
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Right.
However, and then she notices, like, where the fuck are the rest of our demos? Holy shit. And she's like, did we lose them? Did we leave them in the fucking van? And then up rolls Peckerhead, and he's got an empty box. And it's like, 45 demos sold. Bam!
And as he's talking that, some chick comes up. She's like, looks at him. She's like, hey, do you have any more of those demos? You know, and like...
He's like, bam, right
away.
away.
We're at the table
here at
now.
the table,
Yep.
you know, yeah.
So, obviously, like, he's playing it up. Like, he's really enthusiastic. Peckerhead loves these guys because, A, he's able to be mobile and, you know, do his thing.
Right.
But he's really helpful for the band. He's helping them out. Like, he's endearing himself to everybody. He's selling
part of the
their
band
fucking
now.
merch.
Yeah, he's part of the band as far as he's concerned.
45 demos at $5 a pop. I mean, that's a good day for a fucking local band.
Fuck yes.
You know what I mean? You know, merch is where you make your money. You know, you don't make your money at the door.
No, you do not.
Then we get to that evening.
Yes, and that's where Judy is fucking worn out. She's like, all right, we all need to fucking crash. But everybody's so hyped on how the show went and everything like that. And everyone wants to stay up except for Judy. She's like, well, someone needs to fucking take care of fucking knocking out fucking Peckerhead because if you don't sedate him, we're close to midnight. And of course, they're like, yeah, we'll take care of it. And as soon as she crashes out, fucking Max is like, oh, I'm scared of needles. I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah.
And the nihilist, of course, is like, I don't fucking care. Whatever, I don't fucking care.
Right.
And then
she wakes up the next morning.
Yes.
And to them hosing down
a bloody Peckerhead.
Bloody Peckerhead. They're covered in blood. He's covered in blood.
but they're having this joyful, like, oh man,
Laughing and giggling.
and she's like, what the fuck? And what's all this blood? They're like, the metalheads, the metalheads.
So cut back to the night prior.
Yes.
This was my favorite part because you got the titles across the screen. What happened with the metalheads in the parking lot? And it was just like in that like Iron Maiden logo.
Yep.
Like that,
And of course-
that Iron Maiden like fucking font.
So all three of them are hanging out, just chilling in the parking lot.
Judy's asleep in the van.
It rolls the metalheads, and as metalheads have to do, they pull out the boombox and...
Well, let me say two details on that before we
All
get too far. Is that not only do they just show up, you gradually hear
Oh
metal
yeah, which was
music
awesome, like an approaching shark.
as they're about to approach,
Yep.
and then they totally skid into a parking space.
In their Honda Civic.
Yeah.
Damn right, and pull out a tape cassette boombox to keep jamming.
And they've got their beers in which they're headbanging and drinking beer and like
spitting beer, which I never understood why the movies
they
did
wasted
that.
most of their fucking beer.
They wasted so much beer
I don't.
spitting
Who are
it.
they proving that they're metalheads to? That's just the two of them in an abandoned parking lot, and they're like, "Look how fucking metal we are."
No,
as
no.
they look
Yeah.
at each other.
They're doing their own personal heavy metal parking lot,
all right.
which is what they're doing.
Fair.
But I will also agree with you. I've never understood at a metal show or a punk show why anyone is going to be spitting fucking beer up in the air. I'm just like, I don't want to get rained on by beer suds.
And they're drenched in beer.
And
like,
isn't
yeah,
it better
yeah.
to consume that shit? Anyway, whatever. That's semantics.
but yeah, so they're fucking going off. They're like fucking metal, and of course,
They see Max.
Yeah, they see
walking
Max.
with a blanket for Pecker. Peckerhead. It's either Pecker or Peckerhead. Pecker is a John Waters film. That's
It's-
totally different.
Peckerhead, yeah. Not Peckerwood.
Not Peckerwood, which is
I know. I think
Peckerhead.
it's hard to slip either Peckerwood. If we say Pecker something, you know the fuck we're talking.
Or you
about,
can
right?
just call him Peck, but I don't want you to get confused with a racial slur for Willow.
Yeah. I was about to fucking say that. too.
Nelwins!
Yes.
Out of the way, Peck!
But yeah, so they throw a fucking beer
can and hit poor Max in the head.
Great aim though.
That is pretty good
I gotta
aim
give
for
my
like.
press a little bit with the heavy like metal aim because they fucking nailed him right in the head.
But I guess that it was full enough that it knocked his ass down.
Yeah.
And
Again, wasteful beer, but I digress.
And then, oh shit.
Uncle Peckerhead is none too happy.
Peckerhead is like, nope. And they're laughing at them, like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And he comes over and talks to them legitimately, like, he's going to, like, hey, I want you guys to turn that shit down and leave.
Please turn the music down.
I like how they draw a definitive line how they're metalheads versus punks, too.
Yeah.
Look at that little emo punk over there, and that's when they heave the beer at him and shit, and it's just like, can't we all just get along? But apparently not for these guys.
No, I think that's what Peckerhead says, pretty much. Like, hey, gentlemen, we're here in the parking lot. Just turn your music down. And
they're like, "Fuck off, Grandpa."
Yeah, some shit.
Yeah.
And then you get to him walking away, and then you cut to the face, the forehead. I guess would be the first thing indication.
The Buffy loaf.
Yeah,
Buffy loaf.
And then the claws in the hands, and bam, those metalheads are fucked.
And this one probably has the best kill scenes throughout the movie. I would say as well.
Yeah.
Not fun. I mean, there's other fun kill scenes, I should say, but this one has the kill scenes.
Yeah. This one's awesome.
It is.
Because the first dude, the scrappy one, like goes to punch him.
You're cruising for a fucking bruising, old man.
Goes to punch him, and he just bites the whole fist.
Yes.
And like takes his hand off at the wrist. Dude's like, and I love the blood effects because it's just spraying everywhere.
No digital. Just
wonderful kung fu martial arts spraying of blood style. Yes.
A la Kill Bill, like just spraying everywhere.
Fuck yes. Just all over the place. And he's like, oh my God. And the other dude's like, no.
But that other metalhead turns into an instant pussy once he sees what has happened to his friend.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, he ain't like, fuck you, dude. You sometimes get that mixture of, like, I know what I just saw, but I'm a metalhead. I can still take out that motherfucker. But this dude turns into complete bitch mode.
Which, to be fair, I would do the same if I saw my friend's hand bitten off by some Buffy loaf-looking motherfucker.
I would run. That would be my option. Well, run. You know what? You were a good friend. But bye-bye.
At the very least, if you're a true metalhead, you're going to be prepared. You're going to open up the back door and get a battle axe out of the back of your car.
Truth.
All right? Come on, man. But no. He gets grabbed by the side of the head, and he basically just unscrews his fucking head. And he Predator 2's Bill Paxton's the motherfucker because he pulls the head off with the spine.
Yeah.
Bro.
Now say that analogy 5 times fast. It's accurate as hell.
It is.
But say that analogy 5 times
But
fast.
that was fucking badass.
That was.
The fucking spinal cord
and that's what I mean. You still have the blood spraying and everything, and you just see that spinal cord just rip right out of the neck.
As soon as I saw him grabbing the head and lifting up, I was like, oh, do it.
Yep.
I want to see it.
It wasn't just tore the head off the neck or something. It was a full like you could hear the spinal cord. Yep.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Fucking amazing. And of course they're recounting this whole tale.
Yeah, and just having a joy with killed 2 metalheads.
And Max and Mel fucking love Peckerhead at this point. They're just like, he's the most awesome. And Judy's like, what the fuck?
What happened to sedation and low profile?
Oh my God.
So then we find out Judy calls. It's finally Friday. Judy calls the Amir at the place to find out, did he listen to the demo? What does he think? He's like, yeah, you're in. You're in the festival. So once they get back in town, they're in it.
Nice.
With fucking Queef Queens.
That's right. And this is their final show date on the little mini tour they got.
Right.
And lo and behold, the douchebag walks up to them before the show when they got to the venue, and he's like, I think there was a mistake.
Well, they had the resurgence before that, the show before that, where they were playing, and Max had that moment where
because his whole time he's been trying to talk to the crowd. Performing.
And he starts talking to the crowd before the I guess one of the last songs, and it's fucking terrible. He's like, hi Max, glad you like it. Just fucking terrible. But so they start playing their last song, and then fucking Peckerhead starts getting people to pay attention.
Basically mosh.
Yeah, and that's,
Peckerhead moshes.
and that's what gets everybody into the band. Is that
Right.
Peckerhead gets everybody to go, hey, if you just turn around and pay attention to the band and then start moshing, and that's where they get kind of a big following too. Where that last gig now. They're the headliner, and that's when fucking douche nozzle, metal.
Douche nozzle is probably the most appropriate for him with that fucking septum ring.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but did we talk about when we actually heard his band?
Which is at that last show.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, that's what we're leading up to.
No.
No, that's that last show that we're leading up to now.
Was that last show at the house?
Yeah, you don't hear him until that last show at that
That's
house.
right,
that's
and
right.
then they stay with the people, yeah.
God, oh my God, his band was so, like, that's exactly the kind of punk rock I hate.
Don't call that punk rock.
Yeah, it's not
that's-
punk rock. That's why. That's why you hate it.
It's pretend metal.
something.
Because he just starts saying words. Like, he has terrible lyrics, but then he's like, fear, bullets, death, and list like 5 other things. Those are the ones I wrote down. But just to like make it so emo metal bullshit.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
It's poetry, as he would put it.
We get political.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like, fuck you,
no,
dude. You ain't Jello Biafra. Fuck you.
Right.
Now, before that last show, they actually stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
And Judy is so happy with how that last show went and that they're getting the headlining in this final one.
She's now bonding.
Yeah, she's bonded with fucking Peckerhead to
Hell
the
yeah.
point where he's like, well, it's getting close to that time, you know. Do you want to give me that shot? And she's like, you know what? I trust you. He's like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah. So he goes to his room and she goes to her room and everything's straight. She now trusts him enough. You don't need to be sedated. You'll do it yourself. You want to control and not murder people. Everything's good. Then you get to the next day, the show with the fucking shitty ass.
Yeah. Well, the defining moment, that's the first step, but the defining moment is when the douchebag shows up to be like, oh, so you guys are headlining this show, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah. And both Peckerhead and Judy at the same time, after he leaves, there's a whole conversation, which, watch the movie, it's a funny conversation. But they both just in sync go, what a cunt. And you're like, they finally bonded. That is so
That
sweet.
is perfect.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, so,
Big last show that they headline.
yeah, Douche Nozzle is not happy that they got to go on before the newbie band.
And nobody, it's a very small venue.
It's
but
a house show.
Yeah, it's a house
Yeah.
show. But everybody's that staring, looking at the douche band play, and they're just like, this is fucking terrible. Because it was fucking terrible.
It was awful.
Oh, yeah.
And then you get to fucking and they're on there, and you get to that moment, and Judy had written something on Max's hand, so he won't fuck up the final shout out, and he reads it, and it's pretty much just like,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah, and he does it perfectly. He's like, thanks for coming out, y'all, blah, 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 blah.
if anybody has a place for us to stay, that'd be awesome, you know, and here's our last song, and fucking jam out. People are into it. So they are there. They are where Judy was hoping that band would get
yeah.
to. So after the gig, of course, this chick comes up. She's like, hey, do you have any demos? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, are y'all still looking for a place to stay? If you want to stay at my grandmother's place, then there's room. Waits till she says, I guess there's another band staying there. But then you're like, and you knew the minute she said that what the other band was going to be. So they walk in.
The fucking douche nozzles.
Yeah, the douche nozzles are fucking there. And
That's the
they're
name of their band, by the way,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned.
And of course, just in case, that this playing second or playing the opening band would give them some humility. No, pretty much like, well, there's 2 rooms. There's the bigger room we're going to take because there's 4 guys, and we're going to take up more space than the 4 of y'all because you've got a couple chicks. And
It's just biology.
Yeah, biology. Biology says we need the bigger room because we're 4 guys.
And
Like,
if
what
you
a fucking dickhead.
If you didn't need that final nail in the coffin to sit there and say to women because it's biology.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Just...
Oh, man.
but they played it up right.
Oh, yeah.
For a movie, this perfect douche.
So
Perfect douche.
they bonded so much with fucking Peckerhead that they're like, okay, that's fine. You take the room. The rest of the band we'll all just sleep in the living room. You know, you get the room, so we make sure you're the fuck out. You snore anyway when you're sedated, so you take that, and then we're going to grab sleeping bags. So, of course, they get sucked into the TV. Judy goes to get the sleeping bags.
They're watching Toxic Avenger.
Toxic Avenger.
Yes.
And then it cuts to a news break where they talk about murders at a hotel. And specifically...
The motel.
The motel they were just fucking in. And they go...
Womp womp.
Oh, shit. So, they go to check on...
Peckerhead.
Not there.
Nope. The window's open and the curtains are blowing.
Oh, yeah.
So then they run into, or they realize Max, I guess, wasn't there at that time. So they go check on Max. They go into
the other band room.
Douche Nozzle's fucking, their room.
Yeah.
And there's Max tied up. And at first I was like, wait, is this Pecker? No. This isn't Peckerhead that not tied him up. Douche Nozzle's like, I understand y'all got booked for that fucking gig, and we want that fucking gig, so we're just going to tie y'all up, and we're, going to take over your spot. Like...
Yeah.
You're going to miss that show, and if they need a filler, we'll do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because fuck you for taking our headliner spot.
Right.
And
because fuck you and your talent.
You know what's going to happen. They're all tied up at that point, and they're like, go find their fucking backwards ass, redneck roadie. Well, they don't have to look too far because that motherfucker rolls up into the room. And we all know what he's going to look like.
Let's just say bloodbath for a few minutes.
Yes.
After that.
Yes, let's say
Yes.
for the first couple of kills of bloodbath. And then
First one gets crushed behind a door.
Oh.
Next one gets his innards torn out.
the Asian.
Oh my god. The Asian with the beanie on.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
that they blatantly made a dummy of, and then he's just hitting his head over and over again.
With a fucking baseball
just-
bat, just
yeah.
beating it back and forth. And it's
Yeah,
just
it
like, dunk, dunk,
squishes,
dunk,
yeah.
dunk.
And then we get to the head douche. And fucking Peckerhead throws his hand a la fucking Jason from part 6. Fucking
Yep.
throws his hand right through him, rips out his heart,
Yep.
and starts chowing down his heart, but he's been eating a lot, man.
I have a theory about this.
Okay, yeah. Let's,
I feel like that guy was that much of a douchebag
it
that he
upset his
was
stomach?
that he was probably a vegan
Oh, yes.
or something, and nothing against vegans that want to be vegans, but like he just seemed like the kind of guy that would really preach about it a lot. So when he took a bite of his liver or whatever the fuck it was, he spit it out, and then he instantly had
Oh, God.
monster diarrhea.
Oh, man.
Well,
and
that-
not like
for
an
the-
actual literal monster diarrhea. Like the
Yeah.
most hardcore projectile spraying of shit.
To be fair, they did keep it within the movie where he did tell Max that some people taste like shit, and if you have a major douche add in being vegan like that,
There you go.
he got the squirts like there's
Oh,
no
man.
tomorrow.
But he was cool about it and turned around and painted that dude onto the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Just
he totally did respect his band by not completely pooping on them.
They still got shit on them now.
Oh, they still got some shit on him, but he tried.
Yeah.
He tried.
So we cut to the next day. They're in the van. The host, the chick who put them up, and her grandmother are tied up with gags in the van. Everyone's covered in blood and shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of my favorite fucking lines of the whole goddamn movie, Peckerhead's trying to kind of like make it cool, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm really sorry you're all covered in my dookie, but I did come to save you." He's trying to make it better. Everyone's
Yeah.
like completely in shock, and like
The combination of seeing that many people murdered and getting covered in shit is done. They're done.
Not
with it.
even covered in shit, just projectile liquidy shit.
Yeah.
Is
blood, feces, death, shock. They're just all of them are just like
just zoned out at this
1,000-yard
point.
stare at this point.
Exactly.
But they make it to the big venue, and I love Judy goes in, and she's talking to Amir, the head guy, and he's like, you smell like shit. And then looks at her, and he points to her, and he's like, is that shit? I can't remember how she even explains that, but she's like, I guess the van was stuck in mud and there might have been manure in the mud or something.
Yeah.
He's like,
that is shit.
How punk of you.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably one of the best lines because of just how some of the stereotypes in this, because that's why I think Max, the guy who played Max, who wrote and produced and did a lot of the stuff with the music, he's got to be in a band because you don't know those experiences until you've lived them.
Yep.
And a lot of obviously not seeing murderous, demon-esque type people and being shat on unless you were like part of G.G. Allen's crew.
Yeah. God damn it.
Yeah, you just didn't see a whole lot, but you had to have some knowledge of how a punk band tours, for sure.
But Peckerhead, pretty much, the band's going in. He's going to, I guess, were they going to part ways at that point? Or?
So here's what happens. Okay. They're obviously traumatized by this whole situation, and they are like, what are you going to do with like our hostages?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And they're like, you know what? We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. They're back home. They're back in Philadelphia. They vote his ass out of the band, basically. Yeah. It's like, you're out. You're done.
Well, did they vote him out? Because I thought he had gone to take care of stuff, and they thought that might be the part of it. She runs into the lead singer. Judy runs into the lead singer of Queens. And as she's talking to him, the backstage room, then she sees fucking Peckerhead show up and walk into the backstage room. And that's when they're all fucking done. They're fucking burnt the fuck out.
They vote him out.
That's when they vote him out, right?
Yeah, they vote him out, and well, he's none too happy about that, to say the least.
Yeah, he doesn't
that whole
like
conversation. Goes really bad.
Because right now he's loving his gig, where he gets to drive around the place, kill whoever the fuck he wants, and be on the move. Like, this is a great way for him to do what he needs to do.
Absolutely.
But they're done with it.
Well, they asked too. They were like, "So what did you wait? If you're here, what'd you do with the hostages?" He goes, "Oh, I laid them down, put them on a blanket, And they're like,
he put a blanket over them, so nobody will see them.
Yeah, But it's like one of those things. Like, okay, so you obviously murdered that grandmother and that. Well, no, that's what it comes off as.
That's what they think.
Their trust level is done because So they're like, okay, murder, and at that point they're like, we're fucking done. We're voting you out. Now, I will say real quick, and this is the thing I kept bringing up as to what made me question what period this takes place. Because up to that point, it came off as very 90s, very payphone, stuff like that. But right when they're talking, there's a big sign right behind it that says, Wi-Fi signal, passcode, stuff like that.
Right.
Which I feel like now might have just been a big goof, but goddamn, it was right there in the big background.
I didn't even see that. So I didn't catch it.
It's the only thing.
It's on a piece of paper, but the words, it's the word Wi-Fi itself is in huge letters. Like, you really can't read anything else, and even other stuff gets covered up, but Wi-Fi is just sort of there.
So I imagine it could at least be 10 years ago. Because Wi-Fi has been available in coffee shops and shit for at least 10 years.
But you think no character at all throughout the movie you ever run into has a cell phone. Again, this payphones. There's just not a lot of reference to anything up to that point, which makes me think they just didn't catch it.
I guess
not that they say it's a specific time. It's the only thing that threw me off.
Again, I think they made it it's a simplicity for the writing of the story.
Yeah,
is really what it comes down to. Which it works. I think it was a great idea to do it that way. First off, let me say that much.
Yeah.
So to see the Wi-Fi when you don't see cell phones,
it threw me off. That's the only thing.
It does.
I know I've become obsessed with that. It was just one of those things. I was like, maybe wipe that out.
You know what? If that's like the one flaw that takes you out of the movie, that's not bad.
No.
No. Well, because you get into a situation where why didn't they just call this or that? Why didn't they do this? So you take it out of that scenario, because I watched this with Charlotte and she's like, do they not have them having cell phones? I'm like, no, I don't think this is before cell phones. So.
If you really want to add on a second thing, the Menzingers, I think, have been around more recently. They're not like a very old band.
Yeah.
The what?
One of the band shirts that they were wearing. He
wears the Bouncing Soul shirt.
But see, Bouncing Souls have been around for 30 plus years.
That reinforces my 90s thing. So.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a scene where somebody had a Smashing Pumpkins poster in the back of there.
Well, that's true. So again,
sorry, I don't know why.
Regardless.
Yeah. So let's get back into it. All right.
Peckerhead basically is like, you're gonna regret this, and they fucking vote his ass out, and they're like, we're done with you. And as they're about to go on,
Their big moment.
they're going to possibly get signed with this, like, the other girl who
We'll say
like, has a label.
The version of Epitaph. That's the way I would
Yeah,
say it. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
It's like a
The
small-
person, they've talked to her about, not only are they opening that night, but they're going to talk the next week about their demo, that they like what they hear, blah, blah, blah.
It's all happening.
It's all coming
She's
together.
about to play that show.
However, cops show up,
Dun, dun, dun.
arrest them all.
Yep.
Well, I love the way they set that up because they approach her, somebody approaches her, and they go, "Is that your white van?" And then the next shot is the cops fucking handcuffs.
Honestly, all she needed
Yeah.
to say was no.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
It's legit not our van. However, all their shit was probably in there.
But
In any
it
case.
works to their advantage, though.
So, yes. Basically, they get framed for the girl and the grandmother that I guess were found in the van. And then we go to this, like, 8 months later. Like you see sequences of them, like, being...
in prison
it's almost
and-
like
and,
a
court and all
inside
that.
edition footage of like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
band that murdered, and it shows them and they're all in prison outfits
Oh.
and but they show the trial and which then they bring up how did it get this far into there where then the grandmother and the daughter are still alive and they're like no it was this crazy other motherfucker.
Yeah. And one of my favorites on that is the sign being held up that says free
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
I was like, that's beautiful.
I
That's,
love the
you
character.
know.
I love the drawing though. They're like, no, it wasn't them. It was some, and it's like a child's fucking drawing with fucking sharp
It,
teeth.
it looks like something from Troll 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Right.
it's-
But they get the fuck out. So
Yep,
now they're
free and
acquitted.
clear.
Yep.
All right,
clear.
so yeah, after 8 months, they are acquitted, which is great. And then they have a post-incarceration reunion show.
Free
Yeah.
gig.
and it's
And-
at the Duh house. So it's at their place.
Yep, it's
So
there.
obviously they're paying rent again and stuff.
And there's folks there, and it's hopping. However, as they're playing, they see in the back of the crowd
a familiar face.
Peckerhead,
Ooh.
Da-da-da.
and then suddenly she stops singing, and her face like
Which
goes.
I love the way that was shot because it centers in on her, not the entire band's reaction, but she's starting to sing.
That is-
and she sees him, and then it cuts back to her, and it cuts back, and where he was, he's no longer there.
That
but
is
it's the
probably-
realization in her face.
That is some of the best cinematography
Yeah.
for this movie.
no,
For sure.
for an indie flick, this was really well put together.
Oh, it was
and that's
awesome.
I love the way because it's just on her face, and you don't. And I was like, oh man, we're gonna see some fucked up shit, but you don't see it, but you know what's happening.
Well, and you hear stuff in the background
But that's
a
what I'm
little
saying.
bit.
You're
and-
screaming
yeah.
like at first, like cheering for the band, and then you hear others screaming.
It turns into
That's
perfectly
fucking
done.
genius, man. I love that.
Credits roll.
Yep.
It's a perfect ending.
Because
Yeah.
her face goes from shock to like terror, with the screams getting more and more, and then you're like, "Yep, it's a bloodbath." Bam.
Well, and just because this actress was really, because she was one of those specifically that I looked up to see what else she did. Again, like you said, she's done some little TV credit episodes, but her facial expressions that she does at the end there, and she just does that thing where she closes her eyes right before the credits go. Perfect.
Yep.
The timing, the way her face is,
Oh yeah,
beautifully done. Beautifully done.
absolutely. So yes, that was Uncle Peckerhead,
I
and
fucking loved it.
Oh, fucking one of the best movies I've seen in the past year or so.
It definitely fits in, I think, into our category. Where,
Oh, yeah.
Where sometimes there's those movies that are fucking good, bad. Sometimes we're into the bad, not even including schlock abuse. And sometimes it's just off your beaten path kind of movies. And I feel like that's what this is. Where
you know what this felt like? This felt like a much more indie, much more lower budget, but well put together movie in the vein of like Mom and Dad,
yeah,
Absolutely.
which
Yes.
from beginning to end is captivating. It moves along at a good pace. It doesn't lose you at any point. It's
I'll throw out because we're gonna bring up the if we would double feature this. I'll tell you exactly the feeling of this movie is almost it hits it right on the head. Green Room. If anybody's seen Green Room,
Yes.
well, I would say Green Room is way darker.
it is darker, but that
yeah.
struggling band and running into the situation.
Oh, definitely,
And
yeah.
as a band, like going, well, what the fuck? And not only just a struggling band, but like a punk band that will just do whatever they fucking have to do. So
Right.
I would put those almost back to back. Obviously, Green Room is a little bit stronger in my opinion, but I would totally put that in the same vein.
Yeah.
So,
No, there are times where I would. So I give that a 50-50 on agreeance in that, you know.
I just the Patrick Stewart is
Jeremy
Patrick Stewart.
Jeremy
as a Nazi, he's gonna throw
Saulnier's
me off,
movies are just heavy as
Yeah.
fuck.
Well, and let's say this one was just fun.
It was.
That's the whole thing. It was not only done well, it was just fun.
Absolutely.
He becomes Uncle Peckerhead. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, because he never really refers to it's just Peckerhead and, you know, with the title, but he does become that, like, fun-loving uncle. Like, all right, kids, I'm going to take care of you, you know.
Yep.
I might murder
Yep.
a few people, but, you know, I love every one of you.
Yep.
Just don't turn on me.
Yeah. Whoops.
Oh, well.
All right. So that would be your double feature, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
What do you got, Scotty?
I think it goes pretty well hand in hand, and it was even foreshadowed there towards the end. I would put it with Toxic Avenger.
Fuck yeah,
All right.
dude.
They
Yeah.
done in the same vein, really. You kind of have a hero-esque person, and shit goes awry at the end, but you have fun, you have blood, you have liquids going everywhere. Trauma in this, hand in hand.
It's a splatterific fun time.
Yes.
I did like that this was nice and contained, and I had it in the forefront of my brain like 20 minutes ago, and I have now forgotten it. However, you guys will probably remember this. It's not Todd and the Book of Pure Evil, because that's a series.
That's a great series.
But they're
Deathgasm.
Deathgasm. Thank you.
As soon as you brought that up, I said Deathgasm. All right, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
That is exactly what
I was
would
thinking
put
that too,
next
but
to
I
this
was more
movie.
concerned about Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. I love that show.
Deathgasm.
Deathgasm.
100%
Yes.
put it right next to this movie.
I'll put a small.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was the other one I was leaning towards. Was that I'll throw a small mention, and this is a very polarizing movie, and I'm not trying to start shit. I enjoy it for what it is, but the concept in Jennifer's body of the band and what they do kind of follows with this, where they're like, we'll do anything to make it big. You know, to the point where they
Fair
fucking
enough.
sacrifice somebody to sell their soul to the devil.
Actually, and if you're looking for another band one, which I thought was better than I thought it was going to be, it's not exactly top notch, but American Satan was a good movie.
American Satan?
Yeah,
I
look
didn't
it
see
up.
that.
It's good. It's singer from some current band. I cannot remember the name because I'm not a fan of the band.
You know
but
what? I
But it
saw
has
the-
Malcolm McDowell,
I saw the trailer for that.
Junior Boone, something from like Sons of Anarchy and stuff. And
Is it actually good? It looked like a dog shit trailer.
It's not bad. It's it's
Your voice changed a little bit as you described it, by the way.
well
which
because
is never
I'm,
a good
I'm,
sign.
I'm thinking of parts of the movie. It's a great movie to help pass the time. Like now, would I sit there and be like, "Oh, this would be a great movie for us to sit around and watch together"? No, but it's a good one to just sit there and see like dealings with the devil, like how a band makes it in Hollywood. Like it has great nuances and gives homage to great films prior related to that type of topic. It's a fun watch at least one time.
But man,
Well, there you
this
go.
movie tonight, I had a ball. I thought it was fun as shit. So
Hell
Absolutely.
Yeah, dude. All right, let's go ahead and wrap this motherfucker up. All right, so as always, thank you so much for listening to everyone. You can check out Beautiful Disasters on Facebook, Beautiful Disasters Podcast. You can reach out to us directly at beautifuldisasterspodcast@gmail.com if you want to send us any kind of
Suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know what
I mean,
you...
that's all I did for this. I just tagged you guys on Facebook, I think it was. And
Yeah,
just
you were
was was like, hey, this is BD material, man.
Check out this trailer. It's like, yep, we're doing this.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah,
mean, we take suggestions all the time. I mean, I just got someone that threw out Ouija Shark. I don't know what it is, but maybe we'll investigate
have
that.
you guys seen the trailer for Sky Sharks yet?
No.
No,
Oh, once we wrap recording, we're gonna watch that shit.
but
That looks
Done.
But
Yeah.
seriously, you see something you think is a great Beautiful Disaster style movie, throw it away. I throw this out there. You see something that you feel like is a good schlock abuse movie, you throw that out there and say who you think that should be thrown, who should be beat up by this shitty ass movie, and we'll probably follow through with that too. So
speaking
done.
speaking of schlock abuse, very briefly,
Oh, God.
I did find a movie for you that was so bad, I couldn't actually give it to you. That's the first time it's ever happened.
I was about to say, that's a Beautiful Disaster's first, from my understanding.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you're a better man than me. Cause
it didn't actually qualify as a movie.
I was going to say, if I found something that was terrible, I'd say, nope, fuck this dude. I'm going to give it to him.
It was just abuse, not schlock abuse.
It should never have happened.
You worried I would have watched 10 minutes of it, and it would have been straight up from Scanners. My head would have just popped, right? Like,
you would have quit the podcast. But anyway, we'll go into that later. Yes, check out all the merch through the GUI podcast page. TeePublic.
New fucking design.
We got a new T-shirt design.
Yes,
we are working on another design. I'm talking to Lorna about that.
Sweet.
So let's see what we can do with that. And of course, Scotty, Geek Father's coming back hard.
Geek Father, fortunately, Hunter was able to fill in for Kyle for the first, our inaugural episode of Geek Father for the year. We get very political on that one, guys, but it's fun. We got a lot of fun stuff coming for Geek Father this year. We're rolling with the punches, man. We're still in Corona. We're still in pandemic. We're still in just crazy times, especially for parenting. So keep an eye out, and definitely going to have some more friends and family on this year. So,
fuck yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let's finish this up.
Do it.
All right. So thank you so much for listening. I'm the Grutz.
F you, Hunter.
The Geek Father!
All right. Take it easy.
Coming straight from the mouths of madness, I'm Lowdown.
I'm F you, Hunter.
Do you love horror?
We fucking do.
So this is a podcast dedicated to all things in cinematic horror. We're talking movies, television, composers, special effects artists. We're gonna fucking cover it.
So if you love horror,
embrace the madness.
In a world ravaged by movie studios that keep rehashing the same things, only one podcaster has the guts to make it even worse. Join Mike the Hobbit as he traverses the internet to bring you some of the best and worst ideas for reboots, remakes, and reimaginings of some of your favorite and least favorite TV and film properties. Ideas like a John Waters He-Man movie, Fantastic Four the musical, and Aliens, done entirely with marionettes. What podcast would bring this evil upon the world? This is Smack My Pitch Up. Available anywhere you get your podcasts.
GUIPodcast.com